Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mench. For quite a few years now, I've been living most of my time in the awesome window manager. And about a month or two ago, I switched full time to the Qtile window manager. Now, I've used the Qtile window manager for a long time on another computer where I only use that computer for watching YouTube with my Bluetooth earbuds. I don't use that computer for doing work in. But in my main computer, I've been using the awesome window manager for years, 3, 4 years. And a few months ago, I switched full-time to Qtile in my main production computer. And now I'm leaving that and I'm going full-time into DWM. Now, a week ago, I made a video on DWM and I highlighted my updated installer for installing DWM from source. And I also updated a week or so ago my configuration file for DWM. Now, I've been living in it full time for the past week at home and at work, and I've made more changes to my configuration file, and I also made some changes to my install scripts. So today, we're going to take a look at it. So let's get to it. Right now, I'm in my main production computer, the computer I do my recording in, and I'm running Arch Linux with DWM Window Manager. And of course, it looks pretty much the same as my awesome window manager and a bit like my Qtile window manager. Hey, what can I say? So I have 9 workspaces up here, and I'm just going to show you a few of the changes I made in here, and then I'm going to go into a virtual machine and do the rest. So there's 9 workspaces, and I changed number 6 to GIMP, number 7 to Kdenlive, number 8 to Virt Manager, number 9 to OBS Studio. Now, I have 2 monitors, so I programmed it so that GIMP, no matter where I am, GIMP is always going to open up on this workspace, GIMP, on this particular monitor, my main monitor. I programmed it so Kdenlive is going to always open up on workspace 7 on the other monitor. I programmed Virt Manager so it's always going to open up on workspace 8 on my main monitor on this monitor. And I programmed OBS that is always going to open up on workspace 9 on the other monitor. And I find that it's a lot easier to program than the awesome window manager. Things work better than the awesome window manager, and it's easier to program, and I like the way it works better than Qtile. And one thing that drove me crazy about Qtile is that the workspaces move. They change. Like, you click on the wrong way, number 3 could end up between 4 and 5 or between 5 and 6. And I tried to figure out a way to stabilize the workspaces in Qtile, looking through YouTube, my search engine, and my web browser. I couldn't figure it out. Anyways, right now I'm loving DWM, and I'm using it, like I said, I'm using it as my main window manager at home and at work. And like I said, I made more changes. So let's take a look at it. I'm going to go to Virt Manager. And today I'm going to do most of my stuff in a virtual machine. So right now I'm in a virtual machine of Arch Linux with the Qtile window manager. And I don't know, like the workspaces are kind of dark. I don't know if you can see them. There's 9 workspaces there. And another thing is that with Qtile, you have 9 workspaces, even if you have 2 monitors. So if you have 2 monitors, for instance, workspace 3, if it's occupied, you can't use workspace 3 on the other monitor, or we'll just switch the app from this monitor to that monitor. Whereas with DWM, and also as with the awesome window manager, you have 9 workspaces, but if you have a second monitor, you have 18 workspaces. So workspace 3 can have something on it, and workspace 3 on the other monitor can have something on it. Anyways, just to show you how it is here, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of dark, right? Now it says 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of dark. Okay, so now it says 1, 2, 5, 9, 3, 6, 7, 8, 4. I don't know. I tried to figure out how to lock in the workspaces in Qtile. I spent hours. Anyways, what I'm going to do is open up a terminal, and I'm going to, let's just do a fast, I'm in Arch Linux. You can see it's KVM Kimu, which is a virtual machine. I'm in Qtile. And my terminal is Xterm. Let's clear the screen. Let's do an HTOP. So this virtual machine has 4 processors, no swap, 4 gigs of RAM, and we're running at 362 megabytes RAM. Not bad, eh? We're going to quit out of there. What I'm going to do is clear the screen. I'm going to cd into Mench. I'm just going to do a git pull. I think it's up to date because I just installed. This is a new installation of Arch Linux. Oh, it updated. How about that? Okay, so either download my Mench directory from my GitLab repository, and the command is in the show notes of all my videos. Or if you already downloaded it, you might want to do a git pull, because I made a lot of changes over the past few days. Even today, I made changes in it. So just go in and do a git pull, just like I did now. And let's clear the screen. And let's cd into Arch. Let's ls it. Ooh, look at all that. We're going to cd into DWM. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through quickly an install of DWM and the ST terminal, just like I did in my last video on DWM that I made a week ago. And the reason why I'm going through it again is because I made some changes in my install scripts. I'm going to go through it quickly, and then I'm going to show you some of the changes I made, and then I'm going to show you my configuration file. So I'm going to cd into DWM and clear the screen. Let's ls it. And I'm going to run the installer. Let's just vim into it. And this is what it's going to install. Okay, and this part I'm going to go through it quickly because I went through this part in my video a week ago on DWM. So like I said, I made some changes to my install script, so I want to run through it again. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to go, and install, enter, put my password in, and we're going to install these things. And when it looks like it's paused, and you see some dones here, and it's paused, and the cursor's not doing anything, it's finished. It's not broken, it's finished. So I'm going to hit the enter button. So I'm going to cd out of DWM and back into Mench Arch folder. I'm going to cd into my ST folder. ls it, and I'm going to vim into install after, and we're installing ST, and I'm going to install these packages. Okay, install after DWM, enter, and again, when you see some sentences with the word done at the end, and it's paused, and the cursor looks like it's dead, that means we're finished. So you can just hit your enter button, and I'm going to cd out of there, and I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to cd. Well, let's ls it. So we're going to cd into this builds folder, cd builds, ls it. And so we have a DWM and an ST folder there. So I'm going to cd into DWM, and I'm going to ls it. And I'm going to run this auto start file, and then I'm going to run this all monitors file. Now in my last video, I didn't run this one. I don't think it was there. It's hard to remember. But I don't think I ran this one. Now I'm going to run this one because it's a patch. So if you have two monitors in DWM by default, even the clock is not there by default, but once you put the clock there, the clock is only going to be on the monitor that you're working in. If you move your cursor to monitor 2, the clock is going to move to monitor 2, and the date and the clock won't be on monitor 1. So wherever your focus is on monitor 1 or monitor 2, that's where the date and the clock is going to be. I like the date and the clock to be on both monitors all the time. So I have this one here, run all monitors. That wasn't in my last video. Now, if you only have one monitor, it's not going to hurt it. You can run it or not run it. If you have two monitors, you should run this if you want the date and the clock to be on both monitors all the time. And of course, this was in the last video. It's my auto start file. So it's going to automatically have some things automatically start in DWM. For instance, without this run auto start file, you won't have the date and clock up there at all. So I'm going to run it. Let's run the auto start file first. Run auto start, and it worked. And if there was errors here, well, then it didn't work. Okay, now I'm going to run this all monitors script. Run all monitors, and it worked. Now I'm going to build DWM. And before I do that, I'm going to LL and see this config.h, how it's owned by root. So every time you make a change in DWM configuration file, you have to build it or reinstall it. And if it's in root, you're always going to have to type in sudo. So I'm going to change it to Mench so I don't have to type in sudo every time I make a change and rebuild the file. I'm going to clear the screen, and I'm going to do sudo chown mench config.h. Okay, now let's ls it. So now we see config.h is owned by Mench rather than root. So every time I make a change in my configuration file and I have to rebuild it or reinstall it, I don't have to type in sudo. So now I'm going to build it. So now I'm going to do sudo make clean install. And you have to go through this procedure at the beginning and after every time you make a change in the configuration file. So now I'm going to -cd one out. I'm going to cd into st folder, ls it. And I'm going to run this. Well, let's just clear the screen. Let's ls it. And I'm going to run this patch for ST. This is a scroll back patch for the ST terminal, or the simple terminal. Okay, so I'm going to run that script, ST run, and it worked. Now I'm going to build ST terminal. Sudo make clean install. And the ST terminal is built. So, as far as I know, everything worked. So I'm going to cd out of there. Let's just close this. I'm going to get out of the Qtile. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to do vim xedit rc. I'm going to put the hashtag or the number sign in front of Qtile to deactivate Qtile, because I'm not using a login manager or a display manager. I'm just logging in with startx from the TTY. And I'm going to go here to line number 11. I'm going to activate that line, and I'm going to save the file, and hopefully everything worked. So I'm going to type in startx. There we are. We're in DWM with my configuration file. In my configuration file for DWM, the mod key or the super key is the alt key. You can change that to be the Windows super key if you want. So my mod key is alt. So Control Alt H is going to open up HTOP. Let's just see what we're running at. So, like I said before, this has 4 processors, 4 gigs of RAM and no swap, and running at 309 megabytes of RAM. Not bad, eh? Now let's close that. And Alt Enter will open up ST terminal. And let's do a fast fetch. You can see I'm in Arch Linux. This is a virtual machine. I'm running DWM, and we're in the ST terminal, the simple terminal. So Alt X is going to close that. And let's get some wallpaper up there. So we're going to open up Nitrogen, which I just installed. And you could do, you can use D menu. Alt P is going to open up D menu. Type in Nitrogen like that. Or you can close it. Alt X is going to close all your apps. You could do Alt R, and it's going to open up Rofi. And you can type in Nitrogen here and enter it in. Okay, sorry about the blinding white. So I'm going to go into Preferences. I'm going to take off Recursive, and I'm going to add Mench. I'm going to select it. I have 3 wallpapers here. And let's select this one. Let's apply it. And let's close it. Alt X is going to close it. There we are. We have wallpaper. Now, in this virtual machine, I don't have any of these installed. Anyways, sorry about that. So let's Alt Enter. Let's CD into builds. ls it. Let's CD into DWM. Let's clear the screen. Let's ls it. And let's ll it. We're going to go into this config.h. And config.def.h is the default one. And let's go into that just for the fun of it. I don't remember if I did this in my last video. Okay, so now we're in the default DWM. Okay, so you can see there's no wallpaper, obviously, because Nitrogen didn't get restarted. And you have your 9 workspaces here, and they're labeled 1 to 9. It's kind of small. I don't know if you can see it. And there's no clock. So up here in the right-hand corner, it says DWM 6.6. It's telling you we're on DWM, and the version is 6.6. So the clock isn't there by default, but it is with my configuration files. And of course, there's no key bindings for your apps. Alt P is going to open up D menu, and you can see it's kind of small up there. You can type Firefox in, and there's Firefox, and Shift Alt C is going to close it. Okay, so that's the default. So now I'm going to get out of there. Okay, so there you go. So we see our wallpaper is automatically restarted. We have the date and the time, and the date and the time is going to stay on both monitors because I installed that both monitors thing. My workspaces are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, GIMP, Kdenlive, Vert Manager, and OBS. Now these 4 apps, I don't even have installed in here. This is just a virtual machine. So this is my setup for my main production computer. And number 1, I like the fact that they're locked. You can't move them, but they are locked in the awesome window manager as well. Alt Enter is going to open up ST terminal, and Alt X is going to close it. Alt R is going to open up Rofi. Control Alt P is going to open up D menu. You can open up apps that way. W is going to open up Firefox. There's Firefox. Then I'm going to do Alt Enter is going to open up my terminal. And I'm going to CD into builds. I'm going to CD into DWM. And I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to ls it. Well, let's ll it. So we're not going to use this config.def.h file. We're going to be working in the config.h. Let's vim into config.h. And let's go to the top. So on line 6, You can change this 1 to a 0 if you don't want the bar to show at all. On line 7, the bar is at the top, right? If you want the bar to be at the bottom, change this 1. If you change this 1 to a 0, it's going to bring your status bar to the bottom. On line 8, I have the font style and size to be 14. That's for the status bar. That's on line 8. On line 9, I have the font style and the size for D menu to be 18. Monospace bold 18 for D menu and monospace bold 14 for the status bar. And you can put whatever font you want in there, but you have to make sure you spell it right and you know the correct wording, okay? Line 22 is the tags or the workspaces, but they're called tags in D menu. They're not called workspaces, even though that's what they are. So if you don't want these here, let's just change these, okay? Oops. Because I don't have these programs in here. I didn't put these programs into this virtual machine. It's more of a minimal install. There we go. And let's save it. So we're going to save it and get out of there. So when you make a change in the configuration file, you have to reinstall it or rebuild it. I'm going to do sudo make clean install, put my password in. And if you made a change in the configuration file that's wrong, you're going to get an error message. So now it's rebuilt. Now, the other thing is that when you make a change in the configuration file, normally you have to log out of DWM and back in. So first you change the configuration file, then you have to go into the terminal and rebuild it or reinstall it, and then you have to log right out of DWM and back into it. Now, with the Awesome Window Manager and Qtile Window Manager and i3 Window Manager and many other window managers, you can just hit a key binding and it restarts it. But by default, with DWM, when you make a change, like I said, you have to reinstall it or rebuild it. Then you have to log right out and back in. But in my configuration file and with my install scripts, I made a key binding to restart it. So you don't have to log out. Now, the advantage of not logging out is that if you have a bunch of windows open, you have something open on Firefox, another application open that you're working on, and you decide you want to make a change in the configuration file for DWM, after you rebuild it, you have to log out, which means you have to close all your apps. So I changed the configuration file and I made some scripts so that you don't have to log back out so that you can restart it. That way you can keep all your apps open and Firefox open and the web page you were on open and everything opened. You don't have to log out of DWM and lose everything. So my restart key binding wasn't working and I couldn't figure out why. So I logged out and back in. And when you log out and back in, your changes take effect. So now you can see my workspaces or my tags are 1 to 9. The reason why my restart key binding wasn't working, because I changed something in order to show you the default, and I forgot to put it back. I changed 3 things in order to show you the default, and I only put 2 things back to normal. Okay, so then I gotta go back, and Control-Alt-Q is gonna restart it. Did you see it blinking? Watch it blinking up here, okay? Control-Alt-Q is gonna restart it. And Shift-Alt-Q is gonna log us out. Let's go back in. Let's open up a terminal. Let's CD into builds, CD into DWM, clear the screen. Let's vim into config.h, and we're gonna make more changes. So I showed you how to, on line 22, how you can label your workspaces. Now, if you change a label, let's try something. I'm going to change label 5 to Firefox. Well, let's change it to web. Okay, that's going to be for our web browser. But it's still tag 5 or it's still workspace 5. So now you see down in this paragraph here, well, we don't have GIMP installed. So let's change that GIMP to Firefox. Okay, and let's just bring it back to make it even. And we want Firefox to always open up on workspace 5, right? Because we labeled workspace 5 web. So now down here, see how it says 5 arrow 1? Well, we want to make that a 4. So if we backspace this and put a 4 in, it means Firefox is going to open up on workspace 5. I know it's a little confusing and it's kind of odd, but hey, okay. If I leave this as a -1 or even as a 0, it's going to always open up on workspace 5 on the main monitor. If I change this to +1, it's going to open up on my secondary monitor. Now, this virtual machine is not connected to my secondary monitor, so I can't demonstrate it. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. Or if you're using my install script, you can play around with it. Or if you want to work from scratch and start with the default script and build it up the way you want it to be, you can play with it as well. But what I found is that whenever I have a -1, it's going to force it to be on my main monitor, and a 0 as well. I'm not really sure what the difference is between -1 and 0, but I noticed whatever has a +1 here, like my GNOME calculator, GNOME clocks, weather, and Thunderbird is automatically opening up on my secondary monitor because I have a +1 in there. Vert Manager with a 0 is always opening up on my main monitor in my main production machine. OBS, because it has a 1, it's always opening up on my secondary monitor. And like I said, in this virtual machine, I don't have all these apps installed, but you can leave them there. This is not doing any damage if you don't have the apps installed in there. So we put Firefox in there. And another thing too, this paragraph, sometimes you have to play around with it. Sometimes it has to be capitalized. So we put Firefox in, and it's going to always open up on it looks like it's going to open up from workspace 4 to 1. But really what this means is that it's going to always open up on workspace 5. I know it's a little confusing and why they put it that way, but once you get used to it, it's really easy to use. So let's save the file. Let's build it. Put my password in. So now in order for the change to take effect, you don't have to log out and back in. You can just do Control Alt and hit the Q. So workspace 5, we changed to call it web. Let's see if it works. Control Alt Q, restarted it. So now you see workspace 5 is called web. Now let's go to workspace 2 and let's open up Firefox, which would be Alt W. And there you go. It opened up on workspace 5 on web. Let's click it on, and there's Firefox. So let's close Firefox. Alt X is going to close it. Let's go back to workspace 1, and let's go back into my configuration file. I can't demonstrate this because my virtual machine is not connected to my secondary monitor. But if I change this to a +1, now I can change it, and because there's no secondary monitor connected to this virtual machine, it won't do any damage, I think, right? So let's save it and let's build it. Okay, we're rebuilding it. And Control Alt Q is going to restart it. And let's open up Firefox. It's opening up on workspace 5. So my only point is that if you only have one monitor, these numbers really don't mean anything. But if you have two monitors like I do in my main production machine, having the positive number there is going to always open it up on that particular workspace on monitor 2. And if I have a minus number there or a 0 there, it's always going to open up on that particular workspace on your main monitor. I don't even have Thunderbird installed in here. So let's do another one. Let's make workspace 8 for the file manager, okay? And do I have Nemo installed in here? I think I do. Oh, I do. I have Nemo installed. Oh, look how big that is. Okay, so let's close that. And let's go back to my configuration file. Let's type in Nemo. Now, sometimes you need a capital. And I want it to open up on workspace 8. I'm going to change this 8 to a 7. You got to do one below. Why? I don't know. It's a little confusing. And you probably want to get into the habit of keeping this at 0, just in case one of these days you plug in another monitor, a secondary monitor. So 0 is always going to open it on the main monitor, or -1. And I'm not sure what the difference is between -1 and 0. And +1 is going to open it up on your secondary monitor. And let's see if it works. Oops. Let's save it. Let's close it. I think we have to close it. And let's rebuild it. Okay. And now let's restart it. Control Alt Q is going to restart it. Now you see it worked. So let's get it out of there. So now we see workspace 8 is called File. And let's see if Nemo opens on it. Now you can open up Nemo. Alt R will open up this way. Let's do Nemo. And it didn't work. How about that? Okay, so let's close that. Let's go back to my configuration file. Let's try typing it in with a capital. And let's rebuild it. Control Alt Q will restart it. And let's just get out of there. Let's go to workspace 2. Let's open up Nemo. And there it worked. See? So let's hit this file, and there we're in Nemo. Okay, so let's close it. Closing an app is mod key is Alt. My Alt is the mod key. Let's go back into the configuration file now. So you see, sometimes when you're playing around with this paragraph, sometimes you have to start it off with a capital. And sometimes starting the word off as a capital doesn't work, and you have to start it off with a small letter. That's how you make changes in it. You just want to remember the positive numbers are throwing it to my secondary monitor. But even though I don't have this virtual machine hooked up to a secondary monitor, then these positive numbers are just keeping it on my main monitor. But when I have two monitors hooked up, the positive numbers throw it to the secondary monitor, and the 0 or the minus numbers keep it on the main monitor. And like I said, some of these programs are not even installed in here, but you can leave them in. Now, if there's a line that you don't want, you can either delete it, or even better, you could deactivate the line. Now, in most configuration files, deactivating a line is putting the number sign or a hashtag in. In the Awesome Window Manager, deactivating a line is 2 dashes. But here, it's a slash and an asterisk. So let's say I want to deactivate weather. I'm going to do slash, asterisk, and then at the end of the line, I have to do an asterisk and a slash. Just like you see up here, see line 29, it has a slash asterisk at the beginning and an asterisk slash at the end, just like that. So what that does is that deactivates the line. So I like to deactivate lines rather than delete them in case down the road I want to have that line in and I don't remember exactly how to type it. Then I have to do a search on YouTube or a search in Google or DuckDuckGo to try to remember and figure out how to do it. So I like deactivating lines. So in this DWM, that's how you deactivate a line. You have to have a / asterisk at the beginning of the line and an asterisk / at the end of the line. On line 59, I have it programmed that the Alt key will be the mod key. Okay, so if you want the Windows super key or the super key, then you're going to go to line 59 and you're going to change this 1 to a 4. You change the 1 to a 4, save the file, rebuild DWM, log out and back in or restart it. You put a 4 in there, then your mod key is going to be the super key. But I have the mod key as Alt. Line 73 I put in there, and that's the line that opens up Rofi. Line 75, I have ST as my terminal. Simple terminal, ST is the terminal. If you're using Xterm or Alacrity or GNOME terminal or some other terminal that's installed in your system, just change line 75 in the quotes, just type in the name of your terminal. Take out ST and type in whatever terminal you're using. Now, all these lines, line 76 down to 86, I put in there. They're not in the default one. Now, line 75 is in the default. Line 76 down to 86, I put in there. So the way I was running my key bindings is number 1, like for instance, this GIMP. Now, GIMP is not installed in this virtual machine, but it doesn't hurt to have it in there. So I put the line in like that, line 79 GIMP, and then I have to put it in down further on down, if I can find it. So there it is there. So on line 101, I have, to open up GIMP, I have the mod key, which happens to be Alt. Mod key G is going to open up GIMP. So you can see I have it here, and I also have it in the paragraph up here. I have it there, line 79, and then I have it again in line, is it 101? There, okay. Now another example, let's say Kdenlive. So I have Kdenlive here, and you can see it's mod key control K. So if I hit, now I don't have Kdenlive installed here in this virtual machine. I do in my main production machine. So in my main production machine, if I hit the control mod key, now my mod key is the Alt key. So if I hit Control Alt K, it's going to open up Kdenlive. You're either going to have mod key here or mod key control, or look at line 111. Line 111 is mod key shift. Okay, and whatever your mod key is, the Alt key or the Windows super key. So that's how I put them in. Applications that open up with a dash. When I did my DWM videos back in the spring, or in the winter and in the spring, and I used DWM I lived in it for like a month or so. I couldn't figure out how to make a key binding to open up an app that had a dash in it. Like Vert Manager has a dash in it. It's Vert Dash Manager. Clocks is GNOME Dash Clocks. Calculator, GNOME Calculator is GNOME Dash Calculator. I couldn't figure out how to open up those apps, so I had to use D menu or Rofi to open up those apps. Back in the spring, I wasn't able to make a key binding for them. Well, I figured it out. So for the apps that have a dash in them, to open them up, you don't have to put it in this first paragraph. So my other apps, I'm putting them in twice. I'm putting them in this first paragraph and then down below. But the apps that have a dash in them, you don't put them in this paragraph at all. And let's just scan down. So line 104 is Dwm Calculator. So you see I have mod key C is going to spawn or open up Dwm Calculator. And then I put capitalized SHCMD and Dwm Calculator with the dash. And I don't have it up here in this other paragraph up here. For like GNOME disks, for instance, I have mod key control D capitalized SHCMD GNOME disks. And that's how I figured out how to open apps that have a dash in them. I put them in that way. So if an app has a dash in it, I'm putting it in differently than I do for an app that doesn't have a dash. And an app that doesn't have a dash, I'm putting it in twice in the paragraph above and then below. So I'll quickly go through this. Mod key P is going to open up D menu. Mod key return is going to open up my terminal, which happens to be ST, and I showed you how to change your default terminal. Mod key W is going to open up Firefox. Mod key P is going to open up Nemo. Mod key O is going to open up OBS, even though it's not installed in this system. Mod key Control K is going to open up Kdenlive, but that's not installed here either. Mod key Control R is going to open up Ramina. Mod key Control H is going to open up HTOP. Mod key Control O is going to open up OnlyOffice, but OnlyOffice is not installed here either. Mod key G is going to open up GIMP, and GIMP's not installed here. Mod key R is going to open up Rofi. Mod key S is going to lock my screen. Mod key E is going to open up Thunderbird, but that's not installed here. Mod key C is GNOME Calculator. Mod key Control D is GNOME Disks. Mod key Control C is GNOME Clocks. Mod key Control W is GNOME Weather. Mod key Control S is GNOME System Monitor. Mod key Control V is Virt Manager, but Virt Manager is not installed here. Mod key Shift Q is going to log me out of DWM back into the TTY. Mod key Control B is going to open up the Brave browser, but I don't have the Brave browser installed here. And mod key Control Q, even though it says quit here, it's not going to quit, it's going to restart the system. So if you make a change to the configuration file, after you build it, mod key Control Q will restart it so you don't have to log out. And I explain it here. And notice in my explanation, I put a / asterisk, and I ended it with an asterisk / So it's just a note. Now, another thing I want to show is that I don't have the Brave browser installed, and I'm doing this for a reason. So let's install the Brave browser. So we're on workspace 1. Let's open up the Brave browser. The opens up the Brave browser. Now we have the Brave browser installed. Okay, and Alt X is going to close it. So now we have Brave browser and Firefox installed. And now we have Firefox automatically opening on workspace 5, which is labeled web. Let's say I want Brave browser to also open up there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my terminal, cd into builds, cd into DWM, ls it. Oh, I don't need to ls it. Let's vim into config.h. Now you see I already have a key binding for a Brave browser. So it's on line 85 and it's on line 112. And 112 says mod key Control B is going to open up Brave browser. Okay, line 112, okay? And line 85. But what I want to do is go up and you know what? I'm just going to copy this. Let's paste it in. Now I don't know if Brave needs to be with a capital or a small b. We'll find out. And type in Brave. I'm going to leave it the same. So remember what I said earlier is that 4 arrows to 1 means it's going to open up on 5, right? If I want it to open up on tag 7, then I'm going to do 6 minus to 1. And opens that up on 7. So we're going to leave Brave the way it is, and we're going to leave it on the same monitor. And actually, you know, I have positive 1s here. So if I plug in a secondary monitor, it's going to throw it onto the secondary monitor. So let's delete the 1s. Let's just put 0. Let's delete the 1 and put a 0, okay? So it's going to open up on my main monitor. And let's save the file. Let's build it. put my password in. Now we either have to log out or restart it. So Control-Alt-Q is going to restart it. And let's go back to Workspace 2. So now we're on Workspace 2. Let's see if the Brave browser opens up on my web tag. So Control-Alt-B, and it didn't work. Okay, so let's close it. Let's go back to 1. Let's config.h. Oh, we got to do vim. Vim config.h. And let's try capitalizing it. Let's do that way. Let's see if that works. Let's build it. Control-Alt-Q is going to restart it. And now let's open up. Control-Alt-B is going to open up the Brave browser. And it fixed it. Okay, so let's go to our web tag. And there we have the Brave browser. We can close it. And let's go back to Workspace 1. So now I can do Alt-W. It's going to open up Firefox and throw it to web. Control-Alt-B is going to open up the Brave browser and also throw it to Workspace Web. So let's go to Workspace Web, and now we got both open up. We got Brave browser and Firefox opened up on our tag called Web. So let's close those. Let's go back to Workspace 1, and let's go back into the configuration file. So you can see here, this was a prime example of what I said earlier. In this paragraph, sometimes the word needs to be starting with a capitalized letter and sometimes with a small letter. Why? I have no idea. Okay, so you might have to play around with this a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to close this. Let's close this. Now let's open up a terminal. So Alt-Enter opens up the ST terminal. We're on Workspace 1. Let's say I want to move it to Workspace 3. So I'm going to do Shift-Alt or Shift-Mod, Shift-Mod, and I'm going to type in the 3. So now I'm on Workspace 3. Now let's say I want to move it to the secondary monitor. Now I can't really demonstrate it now because this virtual machine is not hooked up to my secondary monitor. Let's say it was hooked up to my secondary monitor, and I want to move this application to my secondary monitor. I would do make sure my mouse is on this screen. I do Shift Mod key, and in my case it's Shift Alt, Shift Mod key, period. If I hit Shift Mod key, period, it's going to throw this onto my secondary monitor. So I could do Shift Mod key 2, and it just moved it to Workspace 2. Or I could do Shift Mod key, period, and it throws it to my other monitor. Now let's open up Control Mod key B is going to open up Brave browser on Workspace 5, and Alt W is going to open up Firefox on Workspace 5. So let's go to Workspace 5, and they're both opened. Okay, so Mod key H is going to change the size. And now if I go to Firefox, Mod key L or Alt is going back. Okay, that's the H, Mod key L. Let's say I have two apps opened up like I do right now. And let's open up a third one. Let's open up a terminal. So now we have 3 apps opened up. Okay, I have my terminal, Firefox, and Brave browser. Let's say I want Firefox to be maximized. I'm just going to put my mouse there, and I'm going to do Alt or Mod key M. It's maximized. Now it's maximized, and there's a 3 here. And the 3 is showing that I have 3 apps open on this particular workspace or this particular tag. Now let's say I want to go back to tiling. So I'm going to do Mod key, which in my case is the Alt, Mod key T, and now we're back to tiling. Let's say I want Brave browser to be maximized. So I put my mouse over Brave browser, Alt M. Now the Brave browser is maximized. Like I said, you can see we have 3 apps opened up. Mod key T goes back to tiling. And I don't have to click it. I don't have to click the focus. I just have to move the mouse. Okay, it's follow focus. So now I'm in my terminal. Alt M does that. And you can see I have 3 here. Alt T brings it back to tiling. Now let's close Firefox. Alt X closes it. So now I have 2. So now if I do Alt M, C, it's showing I have 2 applications that are opened on this particular workspace. Alt T brings it back to tiling. Okay, Alt X closes it. Alt X closes it. So Control Mod key H is going to open up HTOP. And now we're running at 352 megabytes of RAM. Not bad, eh? So now I have GNOME Calculator installed, and I have it programmed to open up, because by default, when you install GNOME Calculator in DWM, it's going to be the full page. The whole calculator is going to take up the whole screen. It's going to look stupid. So I have it programmed to open up in floating. So Alt-C opens it up, and it's opened up in floating. And it opened up on web. So I have it opening up on web because this came from my main production machine. Let's change that. Let's go into builds, DWM. Let's go into vim config.h, and well, here it is, GNOME calculator. So I have it from my main production machine. I copied this configuration file, and I have in my main production machine, I have GNOME calculator opening up on workspace or tag 5 on my secondary monitor. Now, because there's no secondary monitor in here, it defaults to the main monitor. So really what you want to do is if you only have one monitor, you probably want to change that to a 0. It won't hurt it. But if you plug in another monitor, and let's change that. So the 4 means it's opening up on 5, but we labeled 5 web. What I'm going to do is deactivate this line because I want it to open up wherever I want it, like wherever I am. So I'm going to do slash. I'm deactivating the line. I don't want to delete it. / that. Okay. Let's save it. Let's save it. And also just to show you something else. Oh wait, I don't want to do that. Because I have a 1 here, that's causing it to open it up in floating mode. Well, let's just leave it the way it is. That line is deactivated. Let's save it. Let's build. Put my password in. And Control-Alt-Q is going to restart it. And now let's open it up. Let's go to Workspace 2 and let's open it up. Alt-C. Look at this. So it's going to open it up full screen and on whatever workspace we happen to be or whatever tag we have to be. So let's change that. Let's go back to Workspace 1. Let's go back into config file. Now I'm going to reactivate this line. And I'm going to go here and take out that other thing. Okay, so I reactivated the line. So this 1, if you see here, this is floating mode. Okay, so because I have it as a 1, it's going to be floating. And I think if I change this to 0, I'm not sure about this. I think it's going to open up on all spaces. Now, if I delete the line, it's going to open up on whatever tag you want. But I wanted to keep it on floating mode. So I'm going to do 0. I don't know if this is going to work. So we have it on main monitor is 0. 1 is floating and 0 because I want it to open up on all workspaces. I think I have to have a 0 there, but I'm not sure. We'll find out in a second. Now, if I delete the line, it will open up on any workspace you want, but I want it to be floating. So I want this 1 to be here. So let's quit. Let's build it. Let's see if there's no error. Let's Control-Alt-Q restarts it. Let's just go to Workspace 2 and let's open up there. So the first time you put it in floating mode, you have to adjust it. But you only have to do it once. So let's see if we can adjust it. Okay. And let's close it. Let's open it up again. So we're on Workspace 2 or tag 2, Alt-C, and there it is. And even if we reboot, it's going to remember it. It has memory. So even if we reboot, Alt-C, it opens it up like that. And let's jump over to Workspace 6. Let's see if it opens up on Workspace 6. There you go. So let's go back there. So now, well, before I do that, let's change this. I'm going to have GNOME calculator always opening up on Workspace 3. So I'm going to open it up. Let's do period. Well, let's put a 1 there. Arrow. I'm going to have it opening up on, let's say Workspace 2. Let's put a 1 there. Let's just even everything out. And let's save it. And let's build it. Oh, there's an error. How about that? So that's what it looks like when there's an error. So you have to go back in. And what did I do as an error? Oh, my error is that I forgot the comma after the 1. That was my error. So I'm going to put the comma in there. Okay, let's save it. Let's build it. And now it's going to build. And Control-Alt-Q restarts it. And so we're on Workspace 1 right now. So let's see if GNOME Calculator opens up on Workspace 2 automatically. I'm going to do Alt-C will open it. There it is. It opened up on Workspace 2. And it's in floating mode. And that's it. In this video, I showed my new configuration file for DWM. And I explained why I'm using that as my main window manager now instead of Qtile or the Awesome Window Manager. And I'm not using the Awesome Window Manager anymore because my Firefox doesn't function properly when I'm watching YouTube in Firefox in the Awesome Window Manager. And I did a video about that a few weeks ago, or maybe a month or two ago. Okay. And Qtile I'm not using because it was driving me crazy. Every time I clicked on a workspace, it moved it. So number 4 would be up here, number 1 would be over here. It was driving me crazy. And now I learned how to work more in the configuration file for DWM, and I know how to do more things that I didn't know how to do in my last video that I did a week ago, or in the videos I made in February and March. So now I know how to do a key binding for an app that has a dash in it, like GNOME Calculator or Vert Manager. I know how to restart DWM without logging out. I know how to make sure an app opens up on a specific workspace. I know how to make sure a particular app will open up on the monitor that I want it to open up on and on the workspace I want it to open up on. And I also added a few things to my install script since my video I made a week ago. I added in all monitors so that the clock and date always stay on both monitors instead of going back and forth. And I also added a script into my install scripts so that you don't have to log out of DWM when you make changes to it. You can just restart it. And I have to say, I am really enjoying DWM. I love it. And I think it's going to be my main window manager for a long time. I'm using it in my main production computer. I'm using it at the office at work. And I really like it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mench.